Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and today we're going to fix a front end. Excuse me, I still got this flu. A viewer sent in, it told me he bought a used machine and the front end of it, one of the kingpin holes is destroyed because the bushing had never been replaced. Now, the bushings on these things, on every point, not only the kingpins but the steering shaft, there's just a lot of them to name. You'd really have to keep your eye on this stuff. It really is important because these things don't get greased and they don't get oiled, and there's a reason for that. If you grease these or put oil on them and you get them down here running in the dirt, all the sand is going to stick to that oil or that grease, and it's actually going to wear this out faster than if you just leave it dry. But on his, the damage is already done. He said this hole is all ate out. Well, I have fixed one in the past. It's not really simple, but it can be done. If any of this material that's pushed down into the case is still there, you want to grind that off flush so there's nothing sticking down. This piece of steel that you're going to clamp in here is going to have to lay flat against the back side of this piece of steel. I don't know what you want to call this. The front end, I guess. You want to get it so it's laying flat. Now, you can't just weld this in there, because this bushing has to stick down past the front of the front end. It can't be up inside of this hole. It can't be flush with this hole. And the reason for that is your kingpin has what they call a thrust washer on it. That goes on first. Then you slide it up into your front end, and this bushing is actually what your kingpin rotates on. You can see that the bushing is quite a ways away from this shaft that your linkage is hooked to from your steering. That's what it actually, all the weight that this thing is sitting on the front tires is riding on this bushing. That's why you have to check these quite often, especially the bottom ones. The top ones, the kingpin is just rotating in them. There's no pressure up or down on them. The bottom one is what holds all the weight from this machine sitting on the tires. The bouncing in your yard, the turning quick. It's all a lot of stress, so you have to watch these. They're really cheap compared to what this front end's going to cost you if you wear them holes out. Now on this point, what you got to do is grind this off flush with the back side of this frame. You take a piece of, this is a 1/4 inch thick by 1.125" bar stock, just flat stock. I drilled a 1/4 inch hole through it. You put it in here and you clamp it. You need a better clamp than this thing, because there's going to be a lot of stress on this thing moving sideways once you start cutting this hole. Now what you're going to use to cut this hole with is a standard hole saw. This is an 1.5" hole saw, and it fits on this arbor. And you've noticed in this arbor I do not have a drill bit. Drill bits under a stressed condition will cut sideways just like an end mill will. So that's why you want to take the drill bit out. You put a piece of 1/4 inch bar stock in here and clamp it in place. Put your hole saw back on. Now, as soon as this teeth on this hole saw start to hit this, it's going to want to swing because you only got one clamp on it. If you can get another clamp over here, that would be great. Otherwise, tack weld that. Don't weld it too solid, because you got to break it off when you're done cutting this hole. you want to make sure you have these two holes lined up good, or you're going to have problems with your kingpin. That's going to be the most difficult part, is lining these up straight. If you pick up at the hardware a long 1/4 inch drill bit, you can slide that up in here to help align it in the top, then clamp this in place. You're probably going to need 2 people. Then when you're done, you can cut the drill bit in half and take the shank and use that to put in your hole saw if you don't have a piece of bar stock. Then you're going to slide that into that hole, and you're going to drill an 1.5 inch hole in this frame. Now the reason you're going to go that big, because you want it bigger than the diameter of this flange that's on your bushing. You see that fits right in the hole saw. Then you're going to have to find somebody with a lathe, and you have to make a part to put in here. Basically, it's going to look like this, only it's going to be larger. This flange on the back is going to be 2-inch diameter. It's like, now this ain't a professional drawing. I work from my head. I've been doing this for years. Somebody tells me what they need, I just make it. I don't need blueprints. You take a piece of 2-inch bar stock, you want to turn the front down back about 110 thousandths. This is about 105 to 110 thousandths thick, this piece of sheet metal they stamped this out of. Because when you get done with this front side right here, you want to be flush with the bottom of this frame. That's so when you press this in, it will stick down below the frame where it's supposed to be. Then you want to drill your 820 thousandths hole through this. It's going to look like this, only bigger. And that is for the outside of this bushing to slide into. So when you get that in there and weld it in place, it's going to look just like this. You'll snap this bushing in there. It will stick down where it's supposed to be. And you can put your kingpin together and you'll be back on the road. Now, like I said, the hardest part is going to be aligning this. Now, I know who the viewer that has got this problem, I know who he is from the notification he sent me. I want you to send me your name and address through my email, which is jimsfixitshop@gmail.com. You don't want to put your name and address in the little box below the videos, because then everybody will read it. This frame is in, outside of being a little rusty, is in perfect shape. The holes are good. The holes down here for the mower deck are good. The shaft, the hole up through the center for the steering shaft is good. I think it even has the bushing in the top for the steering shaft. If you want to pay the shipping to have this thing sent to you, I'm in Michigan, you can have it. I have no use for it. This is a 28-inch front end though. Hopefully your machine is a 28-inch machine. Otherwise, I get tired of looking at this thing laying out behind my building. I'll probably scrap it out. I just hated to get rid of it, and this is why. I figured someday someone's going to need this, but how long can you really hang on to something? So try to fix yours. If it don't work out, take yours off and weigh it. Go down to UPS and say, what's it going to cost to send a, I guess, 30-pound hunk of iron to Michigan? Because it's going to cost the same for me to send it to you. If you want to pay that, send me a shipper with your name and address on it in a little envelope, and I'll send this thing to you. I have no use for it, and I would rather see it go to someone that's actually going to use it than to get 3 cents a pound for it at the scrapyard. So let me know how it turns out, and until next time, work safe, have fun. Don't forget to subscribe. It really helps spread these videos around, and that's what I'm doing this for. So I guess that's it. We'll talk to you later.